Hello wonderful person, this is Anton, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at Stable Orbit. This is a game that I actually purchased quite a while ago and decided to finally take a look at it after this major update known as the Vector update. Let's find out what this game is all about and let's see if it's actually worth your money. So first and foremost, this game is currently $15 on Steam, and it's still in early access, as you can see. The thing is, when I just bought the game, I was really not impressed. I even watched a few videos on YouTube from various other YouTubers to see if it was worth my money, but purchased it because it was on sale on greenmangaming.com, and figured, well, you know, why not? It's space, it's some sort of a management game, and it does feature relatively cool looking graphics. But then I was kind of disappointed, so I decided not to actually make a video about it until recently, until now. So let's start the game. The game has actually improved quite a lot. First of all, there's now music. Second of all, there's now a lot more quite realistic graphical effects. Like, for example, these used to be just yellow dots before, and it was really bad looking, and also you couldn't actually zoom in at all. Now look at that, you can zoom in, you can see all of these flags on this spacecraft, or I guess on your International Space Station, and you can also basically interact with various modules. Now, what is this game about? This is essentially a kind of International Space Station simulator where your job is to build up a station that is functional, that makes money, that is essentially successful, and then try to build it up as much as you can before you start losing money or before everybody on the station dies. So yes, there's some game elements here. In other words, you can totally lose the game by killing everything and killing everyone and losing all of your money. And there's also quite a lot of modules you can build already, even though this game is still quite in early access. This is still basically an alpha. Anyway, so let's start by building up a few things here. We're just going to maybe build a construction node here, or let's actually just build some of the more essential stuff first. So this will be our energy production area. And here we'll be producing some of the, sorry, not producing, but storing some of the other stuff. So these two will be mainly used for storage and for producing things like energy and oxygen. And then we're going to try to bring in some crew members here. So we're going to actually build up a new node here that will only be for crew members. So let's see how this goes. I'm going to just play through this for a few minutes just to give you an idea of what it's like. But as you can hear, there's now sound effects, there's now music. The Vector update was basically like a major rebranding of the game, making it a little bit more interactive and a little bit more fun than it used to be. Now, so far so good, right? It's space, there's quite a realistic sort of graphical approach here with you basically orbiting around Earth. You can kind of zoom out just to see where you are. But let's actually right away jump into some negatives as well. First of all, the time passage here is kind of unrealistic. It does look like you're orbiting Earth, but as you can see, this is a little bit too fast. The sun doesn't actually orbit, or we actually don't orbit around Earth fast enough to see sun move in that way. On the other hand, time here passes quite fast. As a matter of fact, you can actually accelerate time, but the orbital speed doesn't change at all. And all in all, this in itself feels a little bit like just a background. It's basically just almost like a screensaver that you would use on your computer back in the days. Anyway, let's build up some more stuff here. So we now have our modules, or our truss modules here, just so we can actually add some things to them. So let's start by producing one small solar array. Then we also need to get some batteries going, and we also want to maybe get something to cool things down. So we're going to build a radiator right here, because otherwise things will start damaging really quickly. And I also want to have a food storage module and something to maybe store more water and something to store more oxygen as well, because we're going to be bringing in some crew members very soon. Now, because we're going to have crew members, we need to produce oxygen, but we're going to build this up later. For now though, let's we now have our new module for the crew. So let's build one simple small habitat for the crew members that will be arriving really soon. And also because we want to produce money, we're going to build a lab, a small lab right here. Boom. All right. So now this is going to be a relatively functional station in a few days. Now, what's the story here? because this game does have a bit of a story. And the story is actually very simple. Basically, the year is 2034, and in 2034, the International Space Station was deorbited, so the actual ISS is gone, but space program continues. Basically, a bunch of countries that you can see the flags of those countries right here. Those countries, oh, here we go. These countries right here, so Japan, Brazil, South Africa, Australia, Russia, China, USA, Canada, and the EU, decided to build up this new station that you're now responsible for constructing and making functional. This is the so-called All-Nations Space Coalition, and it's trying to create this new, basically, functional space station. Who will lead this mission? You, of course. And that's essentially the game in a nutshell. Now, all in all, you've pretty much seen about 99% of the gameplay. There's really nothing else to this game, and this is one of the reasons many people on Steam actually only play this game for about 2 to 3 hours, because after that you kind of have seen everything. Now, this game plans to actually have a final release in about 6 months, and I think, you know, for $15, maybe, just maybe, this is not kind of yet worth it. And the reason I'm saying that is because, well, unless you really want to just kind of play around with constructing various types of space stations and you kind of enjoy this kind of a very simplistic, very quite easy gameplay where it's really, really hard to fail, I don't think you're going to be liking this game very much. Now let's actually wait for our first shuttle to launch. Oh, I forgot to build a shuttle thingamajiggy. Whatchamacallit? There we go. Shuttle dock. There we go. Let's build that up. So now we're gonna have shuttles arriving to our station and bringing supplies and also bringing a bunch of crew members. And so we're going to accelerate the game and wait for the first space shuttle to arrive. And you'll see it's going to be very, very passive. Basically, you'll see someone approach, dock, and bring stuff to our station. But we now have enough battery power, oxygen, water, and food to basically sustain a small crew living here. And they're going to, oh, there it is. There's the shuttle. Let's slow this down a little bit. And they're going to be basically now making money for us as they do some research, do some science in this lab right here. And the space shuttle will now undock and basically return back to Earth. So that's essentially the game. That's the game in a nutshell. Now, some people kind of argue that this is not really a game. This is really just a space screensaver. And sometimes it does feel like it because, you know, it's actually kind of relaxing to play this because you're not really worried too much about failure. It's really, really hard to fail here. The game itself is relatively easy. And for the most part, what you'll be doing is essentially just building new things and watching these sliders and making sure that nothing is actually failing by reading these messages right here. Other than that, there's really not much else to add here, other than I'm actually kind of enjoying this. Even though it is so simple and so kind of passive in a sense, it's kind of fun. It's actually not too bad. It's really, really enjoyable. And for the most part, you'll actually be probably spending at least a few minutes a day just kind of playing through it, especially if you pay the full price of $15 for it. Now, that's really what's sort of bugging me right now. For an early access, even with a sale, this game was actually kind of expensive. I think I got it for about $9, but I don't think I spent more than maybe 3 hours in total playing this. And I honestly think that unless a new update comes out that brings even more features, even more interesting ideas, and even more modules to play around with, or makes this a lot more challenging, kind of like a game that I played a few months ago called Tharsis, which was about the journey to Mars. And even though the game was very simple, it was so challenging and so difficult to complete that most people just enjoyed the challenge. Here, however, I don't think many people will be sticking around for this too long. It's kind of fun to play this in the background while you're doing something else. It's kind of fun to basically see the space station, you know, things moving around and the music playing in the background. That part is kind of enjoyable, but the actual gameplay elements here are very, very minimalistic. So you basically will be kind of running this in the background while you're trying to get some money, and then building up new modules, new nodes, new things for your station for you to make it bigger and better. But other than that, that's essentially it. So, is it worth your money? Well, for $15, I'd have to say no. If it's on sale, like half off, or if it gets a major update that includes even more things, more challenges, more scenarios, and more interactive elements, then you know what? Maybe, just maybe, the answer is yes. For now though, I would have to say skip it, wait until it comes out as a full version, and then maybe consider paying the full price for it. For $15, this early access game, even to support it, to be honest, is maybe not really worth your money. Unless, of course, you have $15 to spend and don't mind supporting a developer that basically works by himself and creating these really interesting, really original space games. That's really why I bought it, actually. I didn't buy it because I knew I was going to be playing it. It's because I actually wanted to give my $15 to this person to create another really cool, really original space game. Whether he succeeds or not, time will tell, but for now, that's really all I wanted to tell about this game. Now, let's just maybe play through this for a few more minutes, and I'll show you what it looks like after about maybe 10 to 15 minutes of gameplay. I'm gonna try to expand my station, give it some more stuff, and possibly create some modules that, like for example, oxygen module. I'm running low on oxygen, and I need to actually create one ASAP. So let's maybe go in here and construct the O2 module known as oxygen generator. And so you'll see it being constructed right here. And once it's complete, my oxygen will start regenerating itself by using the water resources, which of course actually creates a really cool dialogue for how all of this works, how water electrolysis works in space, and how you can actually create oxygen and hydrogen, which of course is fuel, using water in space. And so there's oxygen being replenished while water is being sort of taken away, which is pretty awesome, right? Anyway, so let's wait a little bit and make this a much more stronger, better, and more efficient space station. And well, after about 15 minutes of playing around, building up new things, as you can see, my station hasn't really changed that much. Well, that's what you can expect from this game in a nutshell. It's a very, very slow progress. You'll be waiting for numbers to come up. You'll be then looking at these graphs here to see what you need to build and build those things accordingly. So let's actually maybe add another node here and start creating more habitat and also more labs for us to get more money. That's basically Stable Orbit in a nutshell. $15? Well spent? Well, maybe not so much. Maybe next time I'll look at a game that will be a little bit more interactive and a little bit more interesting to look at and to play. But for now, that's Stable Orbit, and that's my opinion of it. So just to summarize, wait for it to come out, don't buy it just yet. And anyway, so that's my station above Earth in Stable Orbit. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video where we're going to be talking about something else. So come back here tomorrow because you're going to be learning something else about space, science, math, or you know what? Maybe we'll just play a video game. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Subscribe if you still haven't, and share this video with people that like to watch reviews of various space games. See you tomorrow, space out, and as always, bye-bye.